Boots parlour now, we said it away.
Boots, sure they're a waste of time now. Hi Jill, I'll greet you properly when I'm sort of mid camera duties at the moment.
Oh, brilliant! Well done, Becky. Well done.
A great warm up act for Rick, yeah.
Shall I do something similar? Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to start this off. This is a bit of a mess because stand over here. I started off by writing an email to Nick saying what I felt about Brian, and then I went through my diary, which I've kept since I was 14, which includes the whole of Birmingham. So I'm going to ramble about this. I'll just read out some of the stuff and add stuff to it. I hate it when I read stuff. It's called, the title of this is Où sont les années d'antan, which those of you who are really, really cultured like me recognise means where are the Hannies of yesteryear? I was at university with Brian. I met Brian on the first day at university in '72. Brian met Melanie on the second day. On the third day, where's Melanie?
I'm behind you.
Hello.
Speak.
On the third day, I met Melanie, and then Brian joined us at the table. When Melanie sat at the table and said, "Can I sit here?" I said, "I wouldn't sit here if I were you." This may mean nothing.
It upset me at the time, I can tell you.
I remembered it. Okay, so this is my narrative with whatever. Female company accepted. Brian was my best friend throughout my time at Birmingham. He and I had both started a year late. We'd both taken a gap year. I took mine because I wasn't sure whether to do French or German. I don't know why he did his, but
He wrote his A-level.
We both did French. We chose many of the same optional courses, and we even appeared together in a French department play, which if any of you looked at the book has got pictures of us in, I think. Ennuy's Le Voyageur sans bagage. And we shared the same sense of humour and absurdity. He was also a thoroughly nice bloke. Oh, I've lost my thing now. Come on. Oh. I want to log in again, do I? What do I do? Yeah, it's great, isn't it? There we go. This is me speaking. I honestly can't remember what my life at Birmingham would have been like if Brian hadn't been. One of my fondest memories, and this is born out of my diary, is of sitting, possibly standing, in the garden of the Garden House pub on the Hagley Road with Brian, Melanie, and Ian Strickland, I think we'll kind of pass over, enthusing and arguing about philosophy, meta-language and meta-language, one of our favourite topics. Over a few pints, with the straws on the jukebox, Brian joking his way through the difficult bits, leaving us all feeling we'd at least glimpse some profound truth or other. When I think of what life at university should be like, that's what. When I think of what life at university should be like, that's what I think of. And just meta-language. Do you know about? Are you all familiar with meta-language? Okay. Oh, yeah. I am a liar. The liar paradox. I am a liar. Okay, it's a paradox. No, it's not. Not if you say I am a liar. I'm saying that in meta-language about the language I normally speak in, which is normal language. So if I say I'm a liar in meta-language and about being a liar in normal language, it's not a paradox. I'll come back to that
Right,
later.
this is why they were friends at university.
Trust we were doing French.
I think he's wrong.
Okay. And this is going to go on for a while, I promise you. I warn you. Last time I saw Brian was at the restaurant in Covent Garden during the Queen's Diamond Jubilee 2 years ago. It never occurred to me we'd never see each other again. There were too many bad puns and amusing observations to make. When, back in 1973, our linguistics professor pointed out the arbitrary nature of the link between words, objects, and meanings in various languages, Brian made a brilliant observation that arbitrary was a perfect illustration of the concept. I don't know why he's not more famous. And this is me. Long after leaving university, the appearance of a new book, we studied the same stuff together. appearance of a new book by Beckett or a lost piece by Sartre, which incidentally I've just bought and hasn't come to my house yet, made me want to discuss it with Brian in the pub, or complain about the price. You see interlude 1 below. I thought this was going to be printed out, so I'll come to... Am I going on too long? On the few occasions when we actually did get round to a discussion, he was nice enough to humour me. So when in April Faber and Faber published Echo's Bones, a lost short story by Samuel Beckett, and the first new piece in nearly 20 years, I eagerly picked up a copy. But it looks as if Brian will have to forego hearing me rabbit on about it this time round. The rest of this is a mishmash of diary extracts. This all goes somewhere. Photographs and so on that... Photographs, I'm sorry about that. The good ones are in the book. That attempts to capture something of Brian in the years 72-76, which when I knew him best. If he were here, I'd remember so much more. 28th of September 1972, went to Birmingham. We met. 29th of September, lunch in the Union with Brian and Tom, who I hadn't met yesterday, who's not here. And Steve, Eunice and Teresa. Brian and Melanie met. 30th September 72, went to the refectory, hoping I'd find someone I knew. 2 girls came, and I said, I wouldn't sit here if I were you. Melanie and Val. Brian came along. Walked around the Union Society Notices. This is Freshers Week, so they're trying to get you to join all these organisations. We walked around the Union Society Notices, etc. This is verbatim from my diary. And stalls for clubs. We formed a don't know what aphorism means society. We've got 9 members. I think, this is from my diary, I think we'll be more than just first-year acquaintances. We all keep making the same jokes, or anticipating the others. And any of you about to go to, say, Bristol University this year, think of this. Absolutely. And one of the things we liked, there was a bollard at Birmingham, and it said, "No bicycles beyond." We thought this was a great title for a really bad 50s science fiction film.
E.T. Stay Here.
Okay, 1st of October 72. Am I going on too long yet?
No,
Okay. I met Brian and Melanie, 1st October. We found Val, who was, I think, Melanie's roommate. Back to the Union for coffee. Rosemary, inner peace will be. You change?
I'm Rosie now, but the inner peace.
And Graham, where's Graham? Who does know what aphorism means. He wasn't allowed to join. 2nd October 72, Mackenzie, who was the grand old man of the French department who was about to retire, telling us that we should go away from every lecture with a thought relevant enough to change our lives. I mean, that's it. 9th October 72, Brian sees me and Melanie, and possibly Jemima Sabini, as his friends he could talk to.
I think we might have to wait for the aeroplane,
24th of
Ricky.
October 72, I went out with Brian and Jemima and stayed till 8:30, singing hymns. This is my diary. I don't recall this. Mixed Calf, 8th of October. Mixed Calf was this place where if you could eat 2 mixed calf meals, I think it was, you win all these bets. Mixed Calf. So I'm there with Brian, and you get various combinations of food, but the main thing is chips and eggs. Sausages. We worked out, this is Brian, this is me and this is Brian. We worked out the chips being an odd number of pence, the sausages being 1p more than the beans, and therefore both adding up to an odd number, which will then subtract from 20p. 20p for the meal. The chips therefore cost 7p, beans 6p, and sausages 7p. That encapsulates my relationship with Brian. We like stuff like that. 20th of November 72, I'm in the French Circle play as the chauffeur. Brian is Pickwick. 30. One of the things about the... Am I going on to... in the building, the French Department building was this Muirhead building, which apparently one of the problems is being the cheapest building ever built in 1907. It had a paternoster lift, which I don't know if any of you know what that is. It's a lift that goes on forever. Over the top in the paternoster with Brian, I stuck out my foot and it stopped. Then the alarm bells went ringing. I told the porter, And he said someone had pressed the emergency button on the lower floor. 20th of January 73, played rehearsal on the same stage as McCartney. He played there the year before we joined. And then this is another Brian moment, Germinal. Have you ever read Germinal by Zola?
Yes, we've done that.
Classic. Brian and I were coming out with anagrams of Germinal to describe events in the novel. So I can't remember who these people are, but Bataille was the horse. He was the minor nag. Where you take the berline, which are the sort of things that contain the coal, to be weighed with gram line. Indication of tea time chez les Innibeaux, the meal ring. What Philomene finally got, the male ring. Benmar's expression, a lame grin. Catherine was minor gal. Catherine post-mortem, arm-hand girl. The sound of the bell to ring Jeanlin up, lame ring. And the road between À l'Avantage and Monceau, grim lane. And finally, what happened to Jeanlin, ran in leg. This is how we've wasted our time. 20th of January 73, I gave Brian my calendar picture of Van Gogh Cafe at Night. I don't remember liking that, but he did. This is, now we get on to Brian, as most of us remember Brian. 28th of January 73, Brian had only done 1,000 words of his Zola essay, to be given in 28th of January, to be given on Friday the 19th of January. There's a picture of me in there, I think of us. I missed my cubes.
Hang on. Helicopters.
23rd of February, at Brian's family. 27th of February 73, Brian Over, we wrote a pseudo poem to look upon the distant brass lines of the future. I mean, that says it all. 1st of March 73, phonetics. I got 26% in the test, 32% overall. Hathaway said he couldn't find words to describe it, and then told Brian he'd done worse. I felt like hitting him. 18th of May 73, Garden House. This is where we thought about meta language. Took ages to get the drink, talked outside, silly LP titles and group singers. We're trying to come up with names of... Am I going on too long? Yeah. Names of groups and singers that sort of were bad puns. And Brian's particular one was...
Whenever.
I can't remember what the explanation was, but it was to do with show me mit gel, as in Joni Mitchell. 22nd of May 7th. This is Brian's introduction to finance. Brian, elected treasurer of the Cercle Français. And I mentioned meta-language, 4th of June 73. We solved Brian's paradox, which was meta-language is rubbish. The solution is it only works if you're talking in ordinary language as opposed to meta-language, which of course those of you who've been through the course will understand. 10th of June 73, this is Superman and Mad magazine. I don't know why. Not I by Samuel Beckett. Beckett's Not I, published in January 73, was the subject of a heated debate between Brian and tutor Jess Banks. This is not my diary, this is my memory, if it's any good. It's a 16-page long monologue, many of them blank, and the price went up to 50p after it was published. Brian couldn't see how 16 pages could possibly be worth 50p. Banks disagreed. These weren't just any 16 pages. What you were buying for 50p was the text of a new Beckett play. So of course it was worth it. And of course, I realised that Banks' argument was seriously flawed because Banks had probably only played 40p. And then by December we came out, this is not I, Samuel Beckett. In December, one of us, I think it was Brian, came up with the title Not Off. 2nd October 73, Brian said I was inaccessible. This is looking for the future. 12th of November 73, discussed Google's Googleplexes. Made a list of aphorisms like totes, etc. in the form of a rota, one to be extensively used every day. This is rather sad. 24th of February 74, dream, really sad and tearful, that I was saying goodbye to Brian for
Sorry, I think we should probably go down rain quite heavily. I think if we can just move in
Shut up.
under here.